Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Akshay Mittal. I'm a software engineer at PayPal. I'm also a part-time PhD researcher. Before we begin, I want to share everything I'm sharing today is my personal research. It's nowhere related to PayPal or any other company whatsoever. Now, let me ask you, how many 2 a.m. production incidents has your team had this quarter? Please raise your hand. Good. And if raise your hand if the production incident keep you awake or on call. I've been there. I mean, it's always like back of your mind. You always have that. Hey, I'm on call. Something is gonna happen, right? So today I'm going to show you how we are moving beyond automation to something far more powerful, autonomous intelligence that can think, act, reason and act based on like your best senior engineer out there, but never sleeps, right? So and let me start with a big number: 44.5 billion. That's how companies will waste on cloud this year. But the real issue isn't just the money; it's the cloud system are too complex for people to manage their own teams. So I'm pretty sure everybody's working in some company over here. How many of you use? I'm pretty sure according to the research, 92% of all companies are in cloud today. And raise your hand if your team manages more than 50 services today, cloud services. Okay. And have you guys had any production issue in last 30 days? Okay. It's very common, right? And typically, as per the research, production issues based on the time they last to diagnose and do everything, it takes around 2 hours, right? Easily, like going through the logs, stepping through the logs, understanding the issue, creating a hypothesis, trying a fix, trial and error, right? A lot of depends, right? Um, so the key statistics, right? As I mentioned, 92% operates in multi-cloud today, which creates like exponential complexity. On average, we're talking 1,300 services in an enterprise environment. To be exact, 1295, and 42% site, manual approvals are blocker, like basically a cognitive bottleneck. And companies who are having this issue report 100% revenue loss, right? The reality in the modern cloud environment is to generate more operational signals than the human can leverage or team can process, right? The bottleneck is not our tools, but it's the cognitive capability or capacity to make sense of how this exponential growing problems, right? Here is what really happening when we automate the doing, but not the thinking. So the cognitive overload challenge. Um, the cloud adoption has been overwhelming, right? We like successfully we have achieved unpredictable agility, cost efficiency, but the success has created a new class of problems than traditional, like simply that cannot be solved, right? If you look at this diagram, um, on top you can see a cognitive capacity growing linearly, which could create a complexity that grows exponentially. The gap isn't where the operational bottlenecks, but also manual intervention and revenue overhead. The the bottleneck has been more. It's all about execution speed, right, and cognitive load. We have more signals than we can process, right? More decisions than we can make, and more complexity a human team can manage, right? So, how do we scale this operational intelligence without linearly or adding more team members in the team, right? This is a core modern challenge where DevOps, and it's why we fundamentally need a different approach. So, so one solution isn't like adding more team members to your team to solve problems, right? It's AI agents that can process unlimited scale and provide autonomous operations. So this brings us to a most significant IT operation that is in decade. So traditional AI ops, right? Traditional AI ops, as you can see, uh, with what I called as only read-only mode, it's incredibly powerful at detecting anomalies and generating alerts, but it stops right there. The human is always a final executor, right? Look at the two workflow. The red one shows traditional AI ops. It ingests the data, detect anomalies, create alerts, recommend action, and human execute as an executor. Notice it stop at recommendation as probably a stage one if you want to do in a Gen AI fashion where you're chatting with ChatGPT, it suggests you something, right? Agentic AI ops is fundamentally different, right? At the green workflow, you show the agentic approach where it's ingesting the data, reason and analyze. It plans in a multi-step action, execute with guardrails, and learn from outcome, right? Notice the feedback loop is reasoning over there, right? It does it doesn't just observe and recommend, it reasons, plans, and execute, and also learn from previous action. So the human role shifts from an executor to a supervisor. So the new paradigm where AI becomes a true operational teammate. How many of you are using like Cursor, Copilot, Windsurf? Pretty much everybody did. I use it in my day-to-day life for like I'm a developer, so pretty much on every task I'm able to use. Nowadays we started using for code reviews, writing tests, all the small things, right? And this is where in the next slides I'm going to talk about giving the small mundane tasks or repetitive tasks which are important, which cannot be avoided to this agent, right? So let me show you exactly how this is under the hood. A true to truly understand this AI ops, we need to see the architecture. This isn't just a single algorithm; it's a sophisticated system in a 5 distinct layer. Provided it might something might better for you use case, something might be replaceable. But like a Lego block, if you notice the diagram, first is perception layer, multi-model telemetry, just in CPU metrics, right? It's logs, traces, user sentiment, that too from support tickets, right? Even good or bad, both support tickets and social media feeds, right? This agent sees everything and which is passed on to reasoning engine where the real magic happens. The LLM correlates signal throughout the entire stack. Query knowledge graph the past incident and runbooks and move from correlation to cautionation, right? Moving on to planning system, the agent doesn't just suggest single action, it creates multiple steps with verification steps, right? With rollback procedures and risk assessment. I think most of you have seen like Copilot, Cursor. A lot of times when you interact with a specific body, they hallucinate a lot, right? The main the main system here is this agent should be able to plan it, reason it, and also kind of do that assessment and also provide a rollback mechanism if something goes wrong because we are dealing with a production database, a production system here, right? Next is the action framework. This is an execution layer like API integration with a cloud provider like Kubernetes controller, CI/CD platforms, but with critical guardrail like such as human in loop control, like somebody is pressing a button, going through a governed process, so somebody approve it because there should be a name to production when it goes live. The learning loop, where every action is logged, every outcome is analyzed. The system become more intelligent over the time, right? So this isn't just theoretical, right? The agent use a hybrid architecture combining transform-based LLMs for reasoning with specialized ML model for time scale analysis, all grounded in organizational context to a vector database, right? So the 5 layer approach, this 5 layer architecture is grounded with some real world technologies and implementation pattern. Uh, while I haven't designed yet, as my research, I'm looking into it this end of the quarter to figure out some open source tech stack to be able to do it without taking too many permission from my employer. So I can discuss this practical approaches using Kubernetes, Prometheus, vector databases, and the best practices on my GitHub later. So who anybody have built like any LLM powered operational tool here? Please raise your hand. Yes, that's awesome. So let me show you this in action with a real scenario. So imagine this scenario. It's 2 a.m., right? You're getting alerts about API latency spikes. Let me walk you through how agentic system handle this, right? As you can see in the workflow, multi-signal correlation, agent doesn't just see this with high latency. It correlates the log showing database connection pools, the metrics showing memory pressures, and also traces showing the recent deployments. The next is the root cause hypothesis, right? It forms a hypothesis. The new deployment is causing memory leak, right? And leads to a connection pool exhaustion. Automated remediation plan. It creates a plan, scales the database connection pool, restart the affected parts, and monitor the fix. Now, human in loop comes into picture, right? For high risk actions such as these, it requires a human approval, let's say via Teams or Slack, right? Execution and verification. It executes the plan, verifies the fixes, and logs everything for learning, right? So the goal isn't just to remove human, right? It's to handle this routine issues automatically while escalating the complex problems that require human judgment. So now let's look at how major cloud providers are approaching this. So this isn't just a niche trend, right? The tech giants, the three major cloud providers, are building their entire 2026 strategies around agentic AI. Let me show you their approaches. Starting with Amazon, Amazon Q Developer is positioned at your, if you're using Amazon, right? AWS as an AWS expert and collaborative teammate. The cloud control API, MCP server allow natural language to create infrastructure management. You can literally say, deploy this 3 layer web application with high availability. It literally transforms everything into cloud formation template. Microsoft, Azure, since using their integration to GitHub, Copilot has evolved from a pair programmer to an autonomous agent that can take an entire issues and deliver complete pull request. The Azure SRE agent provides all these incident responses. Google. Google approaches is little platform centric, if you will. Uh, they have their vector AI agents builder, which provides a unified bench workbench to create custom agents. Their AI orchestrated CI/CD pipeline make the entire delivery process adaptive and intelligent. So this isn't just a feature; it's a foundation of their strategies. Your cloud strategy must align with your reality, with this reality, right? So the business impact is already like kind of measurable. So let's see some impact, right? Organization implementing agentic DevOps are seeing step change improvement across their every metric that matters. So 45% reduction in their lead time. AI agent automates a complex cognitive task like code reviews and risk analysis. 50% decrease in their production incidents. That is, predictive operation prevents issue before they impact the real users. 80% faster incident resolution, automated root cause analysis and remediation work. 30% improvement in the developer productivity, AI coding assistant like automated infrastructure management as such. 60% reduction in the cloud infrastructure cost. So continuous AI driven optimization for their resource utilization. Faster time to market. Companies have noticed the 3.2 times faster time to market to translate their business outcome. One example I want to give is a financial company reduced their deployment time by 35% through AI powered test selection. And a healthcare provider saw a 47% decrease through their predictive analysis. And these results are from real implementation, which are provided in the research I did. So let me show you one of the most advanced implementation in production. Thomson Reuters. I'm pretty sure everybody heard this name before. Uh, Thomson Reuters provide compelling example of agentic AI at enterprise scale. They have implemented GitHub Copilot across their 10,000 plus engineers in a structured 7-week pilot program, demonstrating the AI assistant development in large organizations. The pilot focused on agentic code reviews and automated testing, as in pilot. They measured the productivity using GitHub Analytics and developer surveys, creating a data-driven approach for AI adoption. That can enterprise basically from the GitHub universe, right? They have created a whole blog on this. 40 and the results are amazing. 46% faster task completion, 39% improvement in code quality, 45% faster PR velocity. I mean, I'm always been there. Oh, here's my PR. We are already busy with our stories. It's hard to kind of review the PR, right? You need to take out time separately as a developer. Using this agent have really helped developer productivity and letting business get their stuff out there fast, right? 22.9 million in productivity saving, right? What's the most impressive isn't just the metrics, it's the cultural shift. uh, Engineers initially, were skeptical about using AI, but I think it have become the strongest advocate. I mean, honestly, I use AI almost pretty much every day to write a script, write a documentation, getting syntax. Forget going to Stack Overflow for anything these days. Everything is within a couple of prompts, right? Let me ask you, how many of you in the audience are using AI agents at work or in general, or Gen I in general? Okay, sure. So now, how do you get started on this journey, right? So moving to we have this for 90 days roadmap. If a company any scale want to move to agentic AI, right? Moving to agentic, it requires like a structured approach, right? Here is a proven 90-day roadmap, right? The first day 1 to 30, we start, like assess and govern with, start with data. Data is key, right? Not antidotes, right? Identify your top 3 operational bottlenecks. Concurrently establish it AI governance council. That means a group of architects or who can set some rules for AI in cross-functional team that create rules for this AI agent, because this is a very important step. Step number 1. Day 31 to 60, pilot and learn. So deploy an AI coding assistant like GitHub Copilot or for a pilot team. Implement a agentic AI ops in read-only mode initially. I say read-only because you can see how it is providing you suggestion. Analyze that. Most importantly, invest in training like prompt engineering and AI supervision as a new skills. Day 60 to 90, automate and expand. Enable your first execution ready agent with strict human in loop control. Analyze the result and build a data driven business case for a broader rollout. So the key is starting small, right? Measuring the impact and building what works for you. Consider beginning simple developer productivity tool like that shows faster ROI and build moment, right? As we conclude, let me share some key insight that should guide your strategy. So let me summarize into 7 key insights that helps in autonomous operation, right? Autonomy is a new automation. The conversation had fundamentally changed. We are moving from automating tasks to building autonomous system. So the industry is moving from read only recommendation to execution ready AI agents. Um, I have experimented cursor for my like side projects and some like thing. It was pretty good, right? You turn on the agentic mode, it was doing things for you, but sometimes it goes wrong and hallucinate and give me some bad data. So that is the reason if we go with a little bit more planning and providing those guardrails and constraint, it's always good. Uh, like we have a rule like minimum, two people must review and we should back it up with a lot of testing. If something's sunk in production, then it's going to be bad, right? So govern before you automate, right? The power of autonomous system comes with responsibilities, right? Governance isn't just an afterthought, it's a prerequisite. So building a framework for trust and accountability is essential for this autonomous system. Platform engineering is enabler, right? AI agent does provide some intelligence, but it's the IDP, internal developer platform, that enables their practical and scalable use. A robust IDP integrates AI agent into the developer workflow. There are a lot of like what we started is with a basic code review agents. I'm also working on so we have a lot of teammates coming. I'm creating an AI agent to onboard them. So with some chatbot kind of thing. So that's pretty cool. So we can also like identify those small use cases, which helps really to get on board, right? The cloud provider are all in, right? This is just a trend. All the top companies out there, AWS, Azure, GCP, Oracle, Alibaba, right? Everybody are making their massive strategies, investment, and they're building into future around agentic AI. And I'm sure every of you have your favorite cloud provider out of these or something else. So definitely, right? So starting now, right? The transition is complex. It takes time because we might take some time. You might take a different time. So competitive advantage is for those who begin faster, right? Here is that action plan, what we discussed, which might help to identify your bottlenecks this week and maybe establish an AI console and start with the pilot project, right? Safety first, right? Autonomous doesn't mean unsupervised. Human in loop governance is non-negotiable for production system. We need to build a safety net into every autonomous decision we make. And multi-agent is future. By 2026, specialized AI agents will collaborate in workflow. Code gen agent, like security scan agent, deploy agent, monitoring agent, right? Start building this ecosystem now. So, according to research from MIT Technology Review and National ML, right? All this, what I'm telling today is backed up with some research I did. And if you have more questions, definitely I'm happy to chat more about it. So, the organization that excel aren't necessarily that use the most advanced technology, right? But who can effectively integrate their AI into their culture, processes, and technology to deliver a better software faster. The future of DevOps is autonomous, and the time to start building it is now. And thank you so much for your attention today. If I would love to connect with you all on LinkedIn, if feel free to scan the QR code, or if you have any we do have time for around a minute for Q&A. Feel free to reach out if you want to discuss your agentic operation or ideas with me. Thank you again for your time.